Okay, we are back. It's been a week since our last video, but that's okay. It's okay. Owen's over here. He's junior chef. My kids are upstairs. The dog likes to bark, so there might be some outside noises. But don't worry. Focus. We'll just stay focused and we'll get the job done here. Today we've got a lot going on. We've got quite a bit going on, and it's really not a lot in the sense of we're doing just so much. We're not. It's what we're basically trying to do is we're trying to assemble a complete dish. We've got our butter over here melting slowly. We've got a slow melt for the butter. We've got our pork loin here, our sliced pork loin. We've got some mixed vegetables. We've got zucchini, squash, some portobello mushrooms for our vegetable. And what we're going to do today is we're just going to do a simple, basic pork loin with Hollandaise sauce, some nice roasted potatoes as well, and some mixed vegetables, just some seasonal vegetables. And actually, in all honesty, zucchini squash, this is not the best season for it. I have actually a preference for the winter months. I actually go with a fennel and eggplant mixture with onions during the winter months. But Owen, can you do me a big favor while I'm thinking about it? Can you grab me an onion over there off that thing? Just one onion, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on that top there. I'm trying not to leave the picture. You see where the onion is? Thank you. Yeah, just one. Sorry for that. Every time I do one of these videos, I always forget something. It never fails, no matter what. I think I've got everything out here, and there's always something I forgot. So anyway, that's it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So anyway, so we're gonna do a nice hollandaise sauce. There's lots of different ways to make hollandaise. You can use a double boiler. You can use it right on the pan. But what I like to use is the blender method. That's a method that somebody taught me a long time ago. There are chefs that I have worked for that have complained that it doesn't taste the same. I can't tell the difference. I honest to goodness cannot. I think it tastes just as good as if I were to make it over a double boiler. We made bechamel sauce last week, and just a reminder, there are 5 sauces, 5 mother sauces in the French cuisine. Okay, we have bechamel, we have espagnole, we have tomato, we have hollandaise, and we have velouté. All right, so we're going to look at the second one today. All right, hollandaise sauce. It's not in order, but hollandaise sauce. Yes, sir.
What was the one that you made last time?
Bechamel sauce.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, it is a good sauce. And if you know how to make these 5 sauces, you can make anything in the French cuisine. Essentially, what hollandaise sauce is, if you really get down to it, it's egg yolks and butter. That's all it is. It's really, you add a little bit of lemon juice to it, and that's about it. You top it. It's not very difficult to make. But there's lots of different ways, and it's an egg that's liquefied and thickened, so it can obviously scramble and separate. So I use the old blender method. Like I said, I can't tell the difference between that and the other ways it's made. So if you can, wonderful, good for you. But I can't. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got a lot going on here. I'm going to go ahead and get my pot out, or my bowl, my mixing bowl. This is one other thing I forgot. Like I said, I always forget something. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of think about what I'm making. I've got some pork over here. It needs to go on a grill. I've got hollandaise sauce. I'm going to slowly melt that butter. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on my vegetables. It's probably a good place to start. Even the potatoes. And I'm going to go ahead and slice them up. And notice that I've got one bowl. The thing about this is you can use the bowl multiple times as long as the first thing isn't the pork. If you're doing vegetables and you want to use the vegetable, toss it, then throw it in the oven, throw some more vegetables in, or potatoes or whatever. That's okay. Okay, you're using less in the kitchen. You don't have to use a new bowl for every single thing. And a lot of times it helps with things like just how much you throw into the dishwasher and stuff. So just try to consciously think about that whenever you're cooking in the kitchen. How much are you dirtying up, and is it creating a lot of mess? So I'm going to go ahead and start with my potatoes. I'm going to get my potatoes over. I said I was going to do my vegetables first, but I think my potatoes need to go first. And I'm going to make some golden. I'll start with some golden potatoes. I'm going to turn this all the way down because it's starting. butter has a very, very low smoke point. So if you're not careful, it will start to smoke on you. So I'm going to turn this down all the way down to a simmer because it's already starting to kind of, I don't want it to smoke. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up some potatoes. All right, I'm using golden and red, and obviously the idea behind that is I want there to be some color. All right, so whenever you're doing potatoes, let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get them all out here. There's no harm in getting them all out and just cutting them all up. I am going to get another bowl out for this though. Just so I have everything out at once. I don't want to take all day doing this. And that everything in here. I'll go ahead and get this set because I want to get this thing kind of moving. I don't want to sit here all day like talking about what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to turn that off completely because that's obviously melting. So we're gonna put that off to the side. Just let that kind of sit there for a minute, and we'll put it back on the heat in just a minute. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I got my bowl. Put a little bit of olive oil in. I'm gonna do this for my vegetables as well as my starch. Got some salt. Generally put pepper in first. It doesn't matter. Salt. A little salt. And I'm going to put some herbs de Provence. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting these things up here and getting these into the bowl so I can go ahead and get them in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to cut the ends off, and then I'm going to quarter them. I'm going to quarter them, they'll be really nice and pretty. I'm going to cut them into a nice quarter. These are a lot of potatoes here. I probably overdid it a little bit. That's okay though. We'll have potatoes for several nights. It's no problem. We'll eat them. So I'm going to quarter these. And the vegetables will probably be a little quicker. Whenever you're cutting, the way it was taught to me is you always want to pretend like you're holding an egg. You know, just pretend like for a second that you got an egg in your hand, and you're gripping it, and you're using the knuckles to guide the knife. Otherwise, you'll have your fingers exposed, and you know, if you've ever cut yourself, that's never fun. And so I'm going to cut this. Like I said, I'm quartering the potatoes. You could slice them if you want, but I don't. I think quartering these potatoes are pretty small, so we're going to go ahead and just. All right, that knife is a little bit on the dull side. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a different knife. This one instead. That's always one thing I always worry about is, you know, you got to make sure your knives are nice and sharp. This one's very sharp. It's got a tip that's a little bit off on the end. That's weird. I don't know how that happened. That's weird. Anyway, that's my dog. That's Libby. And that's my kids yelling, so sorry about that. Yeah, she's a very sweet dog. She's a black Labradoodle. She's a good girl. I wanted to do this video, and I didn't really care who was being loud or not. So hopefully you can hear my voice. If you can't, I'm really sorry. It's just one of those things you have to deal with when you get kids and you got dogs and you're trying to cook in the kitchen. So that's okay. Alright. It adds a little more authenticity. It feels like you're in a real commercial kitchen whenever this stuff like this happens. So like I said, I'm plowing through these potatoes as fast as I can, but like I said, I'm also being careful. I don't want to cut myself, and so I want to, you know, I want to be careful. That knife I have is in desperate need of being sharpened. I really need to sharpen that, and that's probably what I'm going to do sometime this week. Is sharpen that knife because it is dull. It's been a while since I've used it. I use high carbon stainless because high carbon stainless knives typically sharpen better than stainless steel knives do. So just, you know, kind of keep that in mind. High carbon though, carbon steel will develop a rust on it, so just kind of be careful that it's kind of a turn off for some people. All right, so I'm cutting up my potatoes. I'm getting near the end. Like I said, I'm moving swiftly, but I'm not moving so fast that I run up, risk of putting myself in danger. And this is not a cooking show where I'm going to be having things already kind of prepped. I want you to see the whole process. And there are things that I have out there, but it's also I want you to see the entire process. So this is, we're looking at we're at 10 minutes on this show. So this one's going to run a little bit longer than normal. All right, no big deal. Like I said, the potatoes are really what's kind of the time-consuming thing. You can see here the kids upstairs. They've 10-year-olds. You know how that goes. Even with any of you with kids, you know that you just have to almost kind of tune it out sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and heat up my grill as well. I'm not putting anything on the grill. The grill is actually the last step here, but I want the grill to be getting hot. And I'm probably going to put I've turned off the hot plate, but I'm going to probably try to put the butter back on here because it definitely needs to be hot in order to be able to do this. Like I said, there's a lot going on in this process. So I've got my board. I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean that off, get it cleared out of the way. So I've got a fresh, clean board. And now I'm going to go ahead and toss my potatoes. Just give them a good turn. All right. And then the next step is I'm going to put them in the oven, and I'm going to come back to them later. All right. So it's probably going to be a minute before these are done. Doesn't really matter. However long it takes. But here's the potatoes. Here they are, nice and golden and red. So we're going to put those in the oven. All right. Now I'm going to switch to my vegetables. All right. I've got portobello mushrooms. I've got zucchini. I've got squash. It shouldn't take as long because just not that much. So I'm going to do the same process over again. I'm going to go ahead and put my oil in the same bowl. There's nothing wrong with using the same bowl. Just make sure it's not. You're not using you're not doing the pork in there first, and obviously you have to switch out bowls because that's cross-contamination, and we don't like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt. All right. And the way I'm working right now is exactly the way I would work in a commercial kitchen. I've got to think ahead. I've got to plan for things. I've got the grill getting hot right now. All right, the potatoes in the oven, I can forget about them. They'll be done when they're done. I can check on them. They're not going to be done anytime soon, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the zucchini squash. I'm going to cut the yellow squash. And on squash, I typically, when I cut squash, I typically like to cut it in half. All right. Some people like to remove the seeds. I'm going to leave them in. All right, it's one of those things you can kind of scoop them out if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave them in. I'm going to cut it at a bias, at about a 1/2 inch bias, so that when you see, and this is all for whenever it comes out presentation. You want to pop the ends off here. The ends will be used for stock or whatever, or trash, and that's what you kind of want right there. Nice. 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and go forward in the bowl. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here. Cutting this exactly the same. I've got my hand in the shape. It looks like I'm holding an egg, almost like a fist. The knuckles guiding down the blade. All right. Throw these in there. Like I said, this is going to be a lot faster than the potatoes. The potatoes it took a while because there's just a lot of them. When I bought them, I don't think I planned for that one real well. That's okay though. Like I said, we'll eat it. It's potatoes, folks. We'll always eat them. All right, so on the onion, I did a video last week on how to julienne an onion. All right, so we're not going to cut it we're not going to dice it. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off here. All right, get the outer shell off of it. All right, I can get this outer shell off. Sometimes it's a little easier. Sometimes you have to take off a little more than you want. But that's okay. All right, so I'm going to clean this up here. And with julienne, julienne the onion, you're going to do the nice cuts like you would start to dice it. Of course, the dice you would make the horizontal cut. You're going to do vertical cuts. All right. Instead of doing the side horizontal cut, you're just going to take one quick cut near the end, and that's going to turn it into, you're just going to kind of cut it up. You might have to, if you don't get them, like you might end up with pieces like this one right here. And these need to be cut a little bit. You just don't want, big hunks of onion. That's just not, people will complain about it if you're in a restaurant. So we're doing good. Whew, I gotta work fast. This thing's making me cry. I like to tell people that onion hurt my feelings, and now I'm crying. All right, last part. We're almost done. We're at the mushrooms. All right, I've already washed the portobellos. I've already taken the stems out. I did prep that early, so now we're gonna julienne them as well. Should take but a second. Whew, man, my eyes are really starting to water on those onions. Whew. It's something that no chef can avoid, no matter how long you've been working in the industry. Onions are onions. Red onions tend to make me cry a little bit more than golden onions. I don't know why, or yellow onions. We're working fast here, folks. We are working really fast, but smart. I cut my finger off or nothing. All right, so we're almost done. This is the last one. All right, so now we're done. Put the bowl over there. I don't need that for a second. Now we're going to toss these just like we did the others. We're going to toss them. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Make sure when you're doing this, make sure you don't put too much oil. A tablespoon is the most you'll ever need. You just want a nice light coat of oil on them. See, you can see the herbs. You can see the same process. We're going to stick this in the oven. Come back to it later. It's not going anywhere. All right, now we're ready for. Let's go ahead and get the. We're going to check our grill. It is hot. All right, next step. Like I said, we're working hard here. Get this thing ready to go. We're going to put some salt and pepper in our bowl. Same bowl that we use for all the other things. There's a little bit of, you can get the onions and stuff out of there if you want. It really doesn't matter. You're going to use tongs to take it out anyway. All right, so you got your little herb. Okay, now we're going to take our pork loin and we're going to dredge it in the oil mixture. And you're going to do this by hand. It's not something you want to flip around. We're just going to kind of do this slowly by hand. A little bit of onions on there, it's no big deal. You can always clean that off. All right. All right. Get a nice coating, and this thing is ready to go on the grill. And you can hear it. All right, so we got the onions on the grill, bowl's finished, don't need that anymore. All right, hands have touched pork, so we're gonna go ahead and switch out gloves. All right, now we're at the last step, and let me get my. All right, so the method for making Hollandaise sauce is very simple. I am going to reuse this bowl. Give this bowl a nice, you really need two, but this bowl's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. And I'm going to use the cup that has the spout on it for the egg yolks. All right, so how you do egg yolks, how do you separate them a lot of different ways. One of the easiest way I was shown was to just simply take the egg, cut it, crack it, and then start to split it between the two, just like this, and the egg white will fall off. Now, if a little bit of it goes into gets into your mixture, that's not a big deal. This is Hollandaise sauce. We're gonna so you got that get out there. So you just want to try to separate it as best you can. Egg yolks are going into this. Yep. There we go. little bit that came out, that's okay. Alright. And we're going to do 6 egg yolks. And that's 6 egg yolks. That one cracked a little better. And we go back and forth. There we go. Notice I've got half of the already done. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish it off. I'm just going to do it all. We're going to make a lot of sauce. All right. Do it all. This is another way you can do this if you want to try it this way. If you got gloves on, just take your hand, let it fall into the glove. All right, you can like, all right. You're trying to work faster, you do it this way. You're almost done. You've done the entire dozen eggs. It's a lot. Alright. Last egg. I was going to do half this, I'm just going to do the whole thing. You know, sometimes you just, because I want to make sure I have enough eggs for this. Alright. That can go away. Done with that. Fill the bowl. This thing is hot. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. The next step, really simple, is we're going to pour our egg yolks into the blender. So we're going to pour a blender, egg yolks into the blender. Let's pull the egg whites off to the side. We can save those for something else. Alright. And get my lemon juice over here, ready to go. I'm going to put my topper on. Alright. I'm going to put this topper on. Let it sit there. I'm going to go ahead and slowly start to blend these eggs. For every 4 egg yolks, you want to use a half a cup. I've got 3 cups there, so that's why I decided to go ahead and use all 12 eggs. I've got enough butter. I'm telling you, this is the absolute best way to make omelette sauce. No better way in my book. I'm gonna get this thing, get this butter hot. Right. While I'm doing that, I'm also gonna flip over, turn the porkloin. So to get those nice grill marks. Butter gets hot. Gotta wait till it starts boiling. My dogs are full around here. They want something to eat. Not gonna happen. Pork. You can see it's got the nice grill marks on there, so I'm going to go ahead and put those over. One of them does. This is going to be a really, really pretty dish. Simple. Very simple. Alright, so we've got our butter, so go ahead and pour it into, it's hot. Alright, so the next step is to go to slowly incorporate this into the egg yolk. If you do it too fast, it's going to scramble. Slowly bring it in. necessary. Some people do. It's not necessary. And I can just see the heat coming right off. It's just fine. I'm just going to add a splash of lemon juice. That's it. I'm going to slow it down. My wife always reminds me whenever I use the Vitamix to bring it down slowly, so that's what I'm doing now. And it's good. So now I'm going to take a spoon, and I'm going to double check to see the thickness of the sauce, and it is absolutely spectacular. That is an amazing hollandaise sauce. You can use a little bit, probably a little bit more lemon juice, and that's it. Not much. It doesn't even, it's got a little bit of a citrusy flavor to it, but it's not going to have a lot to it. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more lemon juice. And that's it. So from this point, really, we're almost done. We're ready for the plate up. What I'm probably going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and finish the porkloin in the oven, just kind of let it finish itself off. And then I'm going to return back at you on my Instagram page, and we're going to just do the final plate up. And that'll probably be in about 30, 45 minutes. But anyway, thank you for watching. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but we did a lot here. You know, we cut up vegetables, we cut up potatoes, we had, but it's, you know, it's 20 minutes total. I mean, obviously a little bit of prep time, but it's okay. And once we're done, we're going to have a beautiful plate, and you're going to be really impressed with it. So anyway, so come back and check out Lost River Catering on Instagram, and you'll see me and my little one that was just here a minute ago doing the final plating. All right, thank you.